Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, it really didn't have to come to this. I truly believe that, but it seems as though Canada is about to learn the hard way. I truly think the whole thing could have been simple. The requests coming from the Trump administration I don't think are crazy, outlandish, despite the way the mainstream media is reporting on it.
Canada has some work to do as far as helping us secure our northern border. So we still know we're extremely vulnerable across that northern border, that we have people coming into our country from China, from foreign countries. We have people on the terrorist watch list that come in over our northern border. And in fact, what we have sent a message this week on is that we're not just going to enforce our southern border. We're going to put extra resources at that northern border as well. So Canada needs to come to the table. They need to work with us to make sure that not only can we be good neighbors, but that we can help each other's economies by getting in line and making sure that our immigration policies are followed and that those that are dangerous criminals face consequences. The president has been very clear from the beginning that there's a new sheriff in town, that he's going to make sure he's putting Americans first, and that Canada can help us or they can get in the way and they will face the consequences of it.
I truly think that all that Donald Trump was looking for was good faith diplomacy, but instead, the King Joffrey of Canada, little Justin Trudeau here, instead of stepping down or even engaging in good faith, he's decided to play hardball, I guess in a desperate appeal to anti-Trump sentiment, I guess trying to cast himself as the global leader of the resistance against Donald Trump's fascism, and now he's pulling Canada into a trade war with the United States. Yikes. I guess there really is no cure for the Trump deranged mind. Let's get into this failure of diplomacy. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Okay, so we all know what's going on here. Donald Trump's using tariffs as a negotiating tactic. He's not out here just randomly slapping tariffs on allies for fun. And honestly, I think deep down inside, Trump probably doesn't really want to put tariffs on Canada. I don't think it's part of his larger economic vision. No, honestly, I think it's pretty obvious what he's trying to do here. He's simply leveraging the economic power of the American economy because he wants to protect the nation's interest. And he's made his demands very clear. He wants a secure border, he wants to crack down on fentanyl smuggling, and of course he wants fair trade. It's not about punishing Canada, I think it's actually about getting results. And some people might be asking, well, what's the evidence? Can you read Donald Trump's mind? Well, the proof is baked in history. We don't exactly need to read Donald Trump's mind because none of this is new. In fact, it's the exact same thing that he did during his first administration. A lot of people seem to forget this. It's not the first time that Donald Trump has used tariffs as a negotiating tool. There's a pattern here. Trump actually did the exact same thing back in 2016 to make Mexico crack down on the border. I pulled up this tweet from June 7th, 2019, where Donald Trump wrote this on X, then Twitter. I am pleased to inform you that the United States of America has reached a signed agreement with Mexico. The tariffs scheduled to be implemented by the U.S. on Monday against Mexico are hereby indefinitely suspended. Mexico, in turn, has agreed to take strong measures to stem the tide of migration through Mexico and to our southern border. This is being done to greatly reduce or eliminate illegal migration coming from Mexico and into the United States. Details of the agreement will be released shortly by the State Department. Thank you. This has been Trump's MO forever. This is what he does. It's the art of the deal. He understands how to use leverage. And of course, if you're the top executive of the world's economic and military might, well, you have all the leverage in the world. And Trump's basically saying, it's time to play ball. But instead, what are we getting from little Justin Trudeau? He's trying to go dollar for dollar.
Tonight, I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
Everybody knows this is an absolute joke. The moment he did that, the Canadian dollar started tanking. And it's so obvious what's going on. Justin Trudeau's trying to posture as some sort of hero who's standing up to Donald Trump in what I believe to be a very selfish endeavor. He's trying to make it all about him as if he's the leader of Team Canada because he wants to look like a hero before the next election. The polls are showing that Justin Trudeau is poised for a landslide loss in the next Canadian federal election. His Conservative challenger is up by 20 points. He doesn't even have the backing of his own country. He's utterly despised by working class Canadians. His party is about to get smoked in the next election, and so now he's trying to pick a fight with Donald Trump, a fight that he clearly cannot possibly win. In other words, I truly believe he's putting the Canadian economy on the chopping block for his own personal and party interest. It's an absolute clown show. You cannot go Canadian dollar versus US dollar. There's no parity there. Canadian GDP versus US GDP. I mean, this is a negotiation it's all about leverage. And you got a high school drama teacher with no political power. He can't even pass laws in his own nation without another opposing party. And he's trying to take on a billionaire business magnate who's got all the leverage in the world. The US doesn't need Canada, but the inverse isn't true. And again, all that is needed here is to drop the antagonistic, passive-aggressive crap. But of course, Justin Trudeau could never do that because being part of the leftist resistance to him is more important than the economic well-being of his actual people. We saw the same thing during the NAFTA negotiations, where the Canadian Prime Minister and his envoy during those negotiations frankly acted like a bunch of damn fools. I mean, just show some basic respect. Trump is making demands, he's saying, hey, this is what's on the table, and instead of playing ball, they're throwing a damn tantrum. Ooh, actually, there's barely any fentanyl seizures. Yeah, I wonder why that is. Probably because it's a wide open border with no security. I mean, we've seen the reports of fentanyl dens, how the dynamic has changed. Supposedly, these precursor chemicals are coming in from China directly into Canada with little regulation, and the drug is now being manufactured in these supposed Canadian super labs. The US president is pointing the finger and saying that's a problem, and we believe that it's affecting us, that these drugs are coming into our nation from the northern border. And you know what the response probably should be? Well, we're going to do something about it, Mr. President, because our relationship is important, and we want to respect your view and act in good faith. That's all he had to do. But instead, the Canadian approach is, no, that's not actually happening. It's not a problem. Essentially telling Donald Trump to screw himself, and they're opting for retaliation. It's completely insane and obviously not going to work. And again, they're trying to paint this picture as if Donald Trump's the irrational one. But he's not, and he's open for negotiations. You just have to be willing to have those negotiations. I mean, look at what's happening with Mexico right now. Donald Trump just released this on Truth Social. I spoke with President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico. It was a very friendly conversation wherein she agreed to immediately supply 10,000 Mexican soldiers on the border separating Mexico and the United States. These soldiers will be specifically designated to stop the flow of fentanyl and illegal migrants into our country. We further agreed to immediately pause the anticipated tariffs for 1 month, during which we will have negotiations headed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, blah, blah, blah. I look forward to participating in those negotiations with President Sheinbaum as we attempt to achieve a deal between our two countries. What is so complicated here? Again, all that's required is good diplomacy, but instead what we're seeing is total Trump derangement syndrome and frankly, utter delusion. I mean, even the White House is totally perplexed. Take a look at this headline. White House says that Canada has misunderstood tariffs order as a trade war, meanwhile Mexico is serious. It's like watching a child trying to play poker at a high-stakes poker game. Justin Trudeau sees Trump flexing economic muscle and mistakes it for aggression rather than negotiation. He's so consumed with this orange man bad hysteria that he doesn't realize that this is just how Trump negotiates. Or honestly, I think he does realize, he just doesn't care. Because in his mind, he's trying to make it about him. He thinks he's freaking Braveheart or something. It's not going to end well and he's going to be forced to capitulate. Actually, breaking. I can't believe as I'm recording this video, I mean literally perfect timing, this was just sent to me. Justin Trudeau has officially capitulated. Would you look at that? I just had a good call with President Trump, and Canada is implementing our $1.3 billion border plan, reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology, and personnel, enhanced coordination with our American partners, and increased resources to stop the flow of fentanyl. Nearly 10,000 frontline personnel are and will be working on protecting the border. In addition, Canada is making new commitments to appoint a fentanyl czar. We will list cartels as terrorists. Holy friggin' moly, this is based. Ensure 24/7 eyes on the border. Launch a Canada-US joint strike force to combat organized crime, fentanyl, and money laundering. I have also signed a new intelligence directive on organized crime and fentanyl, and we will be backing it with $200 million. Proposed tariffs will be paused for at least 30 days while we work together. And there you go. All this freaking talk about a trade war, this back and forth, Trump's a tyrant, Trump's a tyrant. This ridiculous posturing, all for what? What an absolute clown show. This guy should be ashamed of himself. He almost took his country through the frickin' ringer with all of this posturing just to get embarrassed in the end and totally capitulate. Absolutely unbelievable as this guy continues to cling on to power. He should have called an election 12 months ago. What an absolute disgrace. I mean, Canada should be ashamed of itself after electing this guy to power 3 times in a row. What a complete joke. And honestly, I had a little bit more in terms of economic analysis and talking about the trade imbalance, but screw it, the video comes full circle. Justin Trudeau has officially found out. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.